Welcome to the Heart of Fauquier podcast. I'm your host, Austin, and today our guest is Jonathan Waldron with 4J's Farm and Brewery. So probably the newest brewery in the county. So that's pretty exciting.
It is.
But before we get started with things, I do want to thank our episode sponsor today, Ace Handyman Services, Tri-County Nova. I'm friends with the owner, Chris Lakovic, and he's a really great guy. I know he takes pride in his work. He's very involved with the Fauquier Chamber of Commerce and everything. Tri-County Handyman Services, Ace Handyman Services, Tri-County Nova covers Fauquier, Stafford, and southern Prince William counties, and is your trusted ally for everything home. They specialize in the smaller jobs that other companies don't want to tackle, and all their work comes with a 1-year guarantee. That's a really big deal, I think. They look forward to bringing helpful to your home or business. So definitely check them out for any honey-do lists that you have going on. School's starting up, so I'm sure things are coming up when you come home from vacation and have things to fix. You can find their information in the show notes. So I'm excited to talk to Jonathan today about this new brewery. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for being a guest.
I appreciate you having me on.
So you opened, you said only 6 weeks ago, right? You had your opening day.
We are working on our 6th week coming up on Thursday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how are things going so far?
I had no expectations going into this, so obviously the support from the community, the vast majority of our neighbors, just the local support has been really great, and it's been good so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a really great time for you to start. Well, I guess it's a good time and it's a crazy time because some people are on vacation, so they might not go out.
Yeah.
We've had this heat wave.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people like to get out during the summer. So
hot weather, cold beer.
There you go.
I mean, I feel like we have a pretty nice setting. We haven't really done much on the advertising front, just the Facebook and some Instagram. My wife handles all the social media. I'm not a neophyte, but I don't I don't do a lot of the social media stuff. I'm too busy doing all the things that need done. But it's been great, just by word of mouth and people telling people and or folks driving by like, oh, I was wondering what this was going to be and when were you going to open, and
Yep.
And now here we are. So it's been good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you're up on Keith Road, just north of Warrenton, right?
Correct. We're off 17, just if you turn into where the old Ben and Mary's was on Keith Road.
Okay.
And 17, we're about a mile up Keith Road on the left-hand side.
So it's easy enough to get to for all the Warrenton folk, and then if you're in the northern side, it's easy to come down from Marshall and everything.
Absolutely. And anybody that's familiar with the area, there's Mediterranean Cellars is just past our place on back that way. So if you're coming off 17 and you see the signs for Mediterranean Cellars, you can stop by our place on the way there or on the way back and go over to Mediterranean Cellars as well and have a little glass of wine and stop back for a beer or vice versa.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So what did you do before opening this brewery? It's a farm and brewery. So was it a fully operational farm before, or what did you have going on?
Well, so that's kind of a two-pronged answer there.
Okay.
My background by trade, so my degree is in natural resource management and environmental policy. After I graduated college, needed a way to pay back those school loans and all that, so I joined the military. I went to a Catholic military high school growing up. My mom wanted to give me and my brother an advantage in the world and try and get us a leg up. So after, I went to college and then graduated, was sitting around the summer doing a summer intern job and was like, I need to start paying for some of this stuff. So oddly enough, I got a call from a recruiter, signed up. Next thing you know, I'm in boot camp.
Okay.
So did that for a while. I did water treatment and purification in the military. And then after I got out, I stayed in the environmental sphere. I did Hurricane Katrina cleanup, emergency management, disaster response after Katrina hit. I was down there for 6-8 months, helping support those efforts and cleaning up Plaquemines Parish, kind of that lower area where everything got wiped out. So doing a lot of environmental remediation response. And then from there, just kind of kept in the environmental sphere, consulting. I was in Afghanistan for a year and a half, drilling water wells for all our forward operation bases. So just the environmental health and safety world. And then I got tired of living out of a suitcase. Wanted to kind of settle down a little bit. So I got less into the environmental science aspect and more into the health and safety aspect. I worked DC Water for a while as a health and safety specialist, and then with Fairfax County at their wastewater treatment plant, doing health and safety. And then a little bio safety during COVID. I was a biosafety, health and safety officer at the Bioresources Place in Manassas. And, all this time, about that time, we moved into our new house in Warrenton from Clifton. We had my son, and the house was fine, and then we had my daughter, and the house got too small. Yes. It was a really small house, and we were kind of growing outside of it. We had 5 acres on a 1-acre pond in Clifton. It was beautiful. Cool. We renovated the whole thing, and then it just got to be a little tight in there. It was a small house to begin with, and my wife was like, hey, check this place out. It was, 49 acres, rolling hills, field, a nice stone house from the late 1890s, a big stone silo in the backyard, a barn and all that. And I was like, are you messing with me? Like, we go up to the house and there's deer and turkey running around. I'm just like, yes, okay.
That's what you want.
I'm in. So we started doing, more farmsteading, homesteading. I was always into, growing, gardening, teaching, now with kids, wanting them, and COVID, wanting them to understand the value of where food comes from.
Yeah.
Knowing where my food comes from, being able to kind of grow and produce things, and taking the pride and the ownership of that. And it was cool to be able to have that land to be able to do it. We started off, I've had chickens previously and gardened, but we got more chickens, and then we got a couple head of Irish Dexters cattle, and then we did some sheep, and just kind of kept going. So about 1.5 years now, almost 2 years ago, I was a health and safety manager for a construction company, and it just got to be the point where I wasn't in it as much, and my wife we had talked about, the brewery thing as a way to kind of anchor ourselves together to be able to find a way to, how can we, make this a job or a career, something that we can tie all the farming, because in today's day and age, small scale agriculture, it's not really profitable.
No, it's tough.
Yeah, so folks aren't really, you're not keeping the lights on with that. So this was a way with the brewery, was to kind of anchor all that together. And then, I will say, when we first moved in, we weren't super welcomed into the community when we moved in. Yeah, we had 1 or 2 folks in particular that, they weren't too keen on, oh, who are you and what are you doing here, sort of thing. So, and that's still been going on now. Really? So that's a whole separate story.
Sorry about that. That's not a good experience.
No, it hasn't been, and they're still coming at us. So it's been unfortunate but the vast majority, everybody else has been really great. Yeah. So, we wanted to use the brewery as a way to kind of be a part, or create the community that we wanted to be a part of, and be able to tie the agriculture and use my background and my experiences and my craft and my love and dedication for that kind of stuff. And then my children, to be able to show them and have them something that when we're at that age, like, here you are, hand that down, and being a veteran and being a member of the community and finding ways to give back and kind of building that community that we want to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for being a veteran, for your service.
I appreciate that.
That's great. We appreciate that. It's a big sacrifice, no matter what, you do in the service. You're traveling, you're putting your life out there, everything. So we appreciate that. We've had quite a few veterans on the podcast recently, actually. Our sponsors, the last, I think, 2 or 3 have been, so that's pretty neat to see.
It's a good community.
Yeah, to see veterans in opening businesses and everything, putting things to use that you have learned. So you have a cool perspective,
Yeah, appreciate that.
So also with the farm and everything, where was I going with that?
I threw a lot out there.
Right.
So
no,
there was a lot of weaving of stories.
Notes, right?
Yeah.
I should have taken notes.
Well, the farmsteading, homesteading aspect of kind of what set it all off for us,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
kind of from there just grew organically into. My wife was like, "Hey, we should start a brewery." I beg your pardon. We should do what? Like, do you realize? Do you understand? And we've always been the people like, you put a challenge in front of us, like we're gonna buckle down and we're gonna make it happen. So
Yeah. Did you grow up on a farm or in that environment? Because you were excited about this new property.
yeah. So my dad, I was born in Vermont.
Okay.
So we always were in the outdoors, and um, my dad had a nice log cabin out in the woods, and he was not a green thumb by any means of the imagination. So my grandparents, my mom comes from a big family. She has 7 brothers and sisters, and my grandparents always had a garden. And my pop he would show us tomatoes, and out there with him, like learning and what he would do, and then just kind of the natural fascination, and then after with COVID and everything, understanding the importance and scarcity of food and what's in food, and how does it get to you. We do meat chickens. My kids are involved in like the processing, and it was like not scary for them. They're not like, ew, they're like, we're putting birds in the cone and slitting their necks and stuff. And my kids were, they're 4 and 6. They are understanding and they get it. So it's important for them to know that, and they take pride, and you can taste the difference in that stuff as well.
When it's local and not being shipped from far away. And
doesn't get much fresher than that.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So do you guys also sell what you have going on at the farm, or is it mostly for you and family?
So right now it's been mostly for us. We have offered some, of our whatever we have in abundance of our produce, extra stuff that we've put down. Just we have a big crop of cucumbers. We had some extra down there.
Yeah.
So trying to balance everything and get the scale, and we're about to drop a bunch of calves, and our sheep are about to have some lambs. So once we kind of start to develop ourselves and get our feet under us a little bit more on that side, then we will begin to offer that to folks in the community, to customers, and see how that goes. I have a big orchard with about 60 or so fruit trees that I planted. So as those begin to mature, we'll sell apples and different things: apples, peaches, pears, plums, persimmon. Like I just kind of,
you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. I have a hop yard. Like we do just. I'm just the ambition in YouTube. I can learn and figure just about anything out. It's you show me something once or twice, and I can pick it up and roll with it from there.
Yeah, and I feel like self-sufficiency, I guess, is the term people use. The last however many years has been big, and then COVID kind of pushed it that much more when we had, supply issues and whatever else going on. So that's pretty cool that you are kind of ahead on that, So.
Trying to keep up. I don't know about ahead on anything. We're just trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Just, every day offers some new challenges, and you wake up in the morning and figure out, what do I need to do today to at least either knock some stuff off the list, or maybe kind of get in front of a few things,
right?
And just finding that balance. So being able to do it full time, and having quit my job, and fortunate for us, my wife is able to. She's successful in her career, and it allows us that balance and flexibility to be able to do that. So it has been good, but also being closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The brewery closed those days. It allows me to,
focus on
do the
farm
kid
and
stuff,
the kids,
cut grass, fix this, clean that up. And then those are also our brew days. So I work with our brewer to kind of, he's like, I'm older and I'm not going to be doing this forever. So he's been kind of, I've done home brewing in the past, but he's been kind of schooling me up and getting me up to speed on a bunch of stuff as well, to be able to take over for him when he decides, like, I'm out of here.
Okay.
So it's just been juggling. It's a lot of juggling, luckily. So I have my brother there as well, and then my wife's mom, mother-in-law is there close by as well. So she's been helping out, and my mom actually just retired yesterday. So she at some point, she's been at Amtrak for like 47 years. So she just hung it up on Monday, and she's down here helping me with the kids because my wife has a business trip to go on, and then eventually she's going to start looking at bringing herself down this way to be closer to everybody as well.
Yeah. So everyone's kind of coming down here. Your brothers
Yeah.
and different family, but you're both out of state. You and Jessica, your wife, right?
Yeah, Jess
Okay.
was originally she was born in Texas, and then she moved up this way. It's probably been about 20 years or so ago now. So she's a lot more anchored in this area than I am. But we met in Reston. I was living in Fairfax at the time, and then we moved, bought a house together in Clifton, and then
Right.
kids and all that.
The rest is history.
Yeah, here we are.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I see on your shirt, and I saw this tag earlier, soil to suds.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into play with what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
What made you want to put that, like, at the forefront, and what all do you grow for the brewery right now?
Yeah, so, and the more I got to think about it, this was like a brainstorming session. So Judy Olson, who's a local kind of designer and has been helping us with our logo and some of our graphics and stuff. We were having a brainstorming session about who are we as people, and what do we want to embody for our business, and what are, the core values that we have. And, my career in the environmental and the military and that kind of, it's a lot of meanings behind it, really.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Like, the soil to suds is, being rooted, soil, trying to grow and produce, community kind of the earth, just trying to maintain our humility and staying humble and focusing on what's in front of us and the value and appreciation for things. So it has a lot of meanings, but the soil to suds and kind of its face value is, from the earth into the beer.
Mm-hmm.
We have a hop yard. We're trying to grow as many things as we can on the property. That takes time. So right now we're, pulling from other resources, the grains and things like that, to try and gather as much of that and be able to use and produce some quality product for people. But the suds obviously is the beer aspect and kind of that full circle and bringing it all around. So it's been kind of a journey for us as far as the learning curve and the aspects and the soil to suds and what it means is to us as a business, as people, as a family, is just a kind of that connectedness and that full circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. And I like that it's not just, your business thing. It is who you are, and it's not just to draw people in. It's to show what your goal is and what you do as a family. So
we started like before we ever thought about having a brewery. It's been farmsteading, homesteading, like the value and connectedness and knowing where food comes from, and having my kids just know that you don't just go to the store and order something, and like, where does it actually come from, and the work behind it, because it is a lot of hard work. And definitely. I give a lot of credit to the small farmers that are out there doing this at any scale, even the backyard people that, it starts in your backyard. You can do a lot back there, whether if you're allowed to have chickens in a small garden, like that can provide a lot for you, and realizing that the importance of having your own food and being able to provide for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And then on the flip side with your logo, the 4 J's, I'm looking at it. So that you, Jonathan, your wife Jessica, and then your kids are Jameson
and Julianne. Okay. Yep. So we're looking for a name, and so there's a story behind everything, I feel like. But so my name, Jonathan, my dad, so we have the same initials, J-A-W. My dad's initials were J-A-W. His dad's were J-A-W.
But you're not juniors.
No. It's just, okay. He was a junior. My mom was not having it. So she's like, you're not going to be the third. Like, we're not. So I am Jonathan Avery Waldron. So I have my dad passed a few years ago now, but I have a ring of his that has been handed down. It's the initials J-A-W. So when we found out we were pregnant, and my son, I was like, okay. I was like, this is it. Yeah, this is it. So we fought on some names. I was like, what about Jedi? My wife was like, we're not naming our son Jedi. It's like, okay, no Star Wars. I got you. That's fine. But so Jameson, and then his middle name is Avery as well, like mine. So we got that, and then we found out my daughter was coming, and I was like, well, we can't not give her a J name. She'll feel kind of left out. Yeah. So it's Julianne Rose Waldron, kind of follows in my wife's initials. So yeah, that kind of makes it up, and we're thinking about names and what do we call our farm, and it's all about family and
Yeah.
about what we're doing. So it's 4J's that made it kind of easy for us.
Yeah.
And then it was just I sketched some stuff out on a piece of paper and kind of created the little like brand,
Right.
almost
Right.
like a brand, and just something that was kind of easy and straightforward and identifiable. And
Looks good.
thank you,
I think it's good.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Nice. And so you talked about the kids being so involved with like the homesteading. How are they with starting the brewery? Were they excited to help out where they could? What kind of stuff do they like to do?
Oh yeah, no, my son Jameson will walk around and be like, "Hello, welcome to my brewery." He's
It's his.
yeah, and he was getting in on. My daughter's still just kind of. She's not an introvert, but she likes to kind of pick and choose when she wants to be around people. But I've had a bouncy house now. I bought that probably 5 or 6 years ago for my kids' birthdays and stuff, and other buddies would borrow it, and so we have that set up down there. So we have and some swings and things for kids to do to occupy them. So if there's a chance, like, is the brewery open today? My kids will ask because they want to be down there because other folks that come are bringing their families,
Yeah,
and then they
new
can go play
friends.
with kids
Yep.
and new friends and welcome
Yep.
and get to show them around and all that. So they're all in on it. They like it, and they don't realize quite that it's not all fun. There's work there, but they're enjoying themselves and meeting a lot of people. We've met a lot of really great people, and I don't think had we not had this, I would not know half of our neighbors, more than half of our neighbors,
Yeah.
because everybody's so spaced on their land, and there's a lot of communities back there, but a lot of the neighbors have been coming by. Oh, I'm so and so. I live just over here. I could literally walk here, or this is 2 minutes from my house. This is so great.
Nice.
Thank you, and people like they're sitting together and breaking bread or having a beer and sharing and creating memories and stories, and that to me is like the awesome value add right there for us. Like this is what we want in a day and age with technology and everybody's like on their phone and texting, like to put that stuff down and actually build real relationships and get to know people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. One kind of you mentioned some people that are really close to you that can just walk there now, and I was thinking of the question, which it's kind of a tough one putting you on the spot
Sure.
here, but thinking about Fauquier County and the area, there are a lot of breweries, there are a lot of wineries. So when you guys had the idea of opening a brewery, were you like intimidated by how many there were? Like, is this going to work when there's so many? What was kind of your thought process when there's, quite a few places that are wineries and breweries?
I mean, we find inspiration in a lot of different, going to local breweries and wineries, but there's nothing on our side of town where we are. And there's only a handful of like farm breweries. It's, Powers, Barking Rose. I know that there is Altered Suds in the basement of Molly's, and then Silver Branch is now coming into the old Warthog space. And then outside of that, there's a few other, breweries, but there's really not a lot of local brewery selections in the immediate Warrenton area where we are. So we found that our location, after thinking about it, and it's beautiful. It's a nice setting. I mean, it's literally like our house is up on the hill. It's like right down at the bottom of our hill, and the accessibility just being that close to town off 17, and you're a mile up on Keith. So I don't believe we ever thought about the intimidation aspect. Maybe at one point, like on the first Saturday, I was like, oh wow, like this is real now. Like that moment but I had been working, like I did all the construction management. I had some help with my neighbor, Louis Sublett, who owns Sublett Services, and he's been a great friend, and him and his family have been a great help to us, helping guide me. And but I'm out there. I did the design. I worked with some folks, Delmarva, to help us, with the architectural kind of layout of what I wanted and making that a reality, and putting all this up in my head on paper. And I feel like we really knocked it out of the park. But I don't think intimidation, we never really thought of it like that.
Good.
I will say that, we have had some, and this is documented in the newspapers and local stuff. There were some folks that really had their knives out for us, and it's unfortunate and unfair because they didn't even know us or what we were about, didn't even bother to kind of talk or make those relationships or connections or have those conversations. It was just like, no, whatever it is, we're not. And it's like, well, I appreciate your feedback, but
we want to make it happen.
This is my land. If you want to pay my mortgage, then we can have a different conversation. But it was for sale. You guys could have bought it. So, so we had some folks trying to intimidate us, and it got personal. People coming at me and my family, and that was not cool. And that all that did was just, you throw a challenge in front of me, fired me up. Being a military guy, and I've seen, being in Afghanistan and getting shot at and having rockets come at me. I'm like, this was okay. I mean, I've seen fear, and this was not that. Yeah. We were prepared, and we made sure we were doing everything by the law. We had early and often communication with the county. They were supportive of what we were trying to do and what we wanted to do. We had, and now after the fact, knowing like a vast majority of the community is like, yes, thank you. We really appreciate this. This is awesome. We're not trying to be Anheuser-Busch. We're not trying to be the next big thing. Like, we'll never get bigger than we are right now. Our footprint will not grow. We will not be distributing or canning our beer. If you want our stuff, you gotta come get it. Because we're just a small. I mean, we're not trying to print money. We're just trying to pay for it. Make sure we can pay for it and keep the lights on. And if we can squirrel a little bit of money away for ourselves and offset some costs, then that's great. And something to hand down to our kids. So so that aspect, wasn't ever fear or scared. It was just like, and some of the folks, there's one or two folks that still
not sure of it,
keep coming at us and keep, running up to the county about everything. And it's been frustrating and difficult to have that. But, at the end of the day, we know what we're doing is good, and we're staying true to ourselves and trying not to get bogged down and mired in the mudslinging. Right. We value things differently, I guess, and have a different understanding of what community means. And we want to be a part of the community, and create the community that we also want to, share those core values. So it's been good, from that respect, but never, feared or intimidating. It was just, okay,
obstacles to go over.
Let's do this.
Cool.
Here we are.
And I've heard, the measure of a man is about how the size of the obstacle he's willing to overcome.
Sure.
So you've already overcome stuff. So now it's just, you keep trucking along.
Exactly.
And you'll be good, so
we've come too far to turn back.
Yeah.
And people are digging it. I mean, we have had a lot of folks come out. They're, the building itself and just the setting is very peaceful and beautiful. We put a lot of thought into it and how it's set up, and you get that. It's an extension of us, our family, our home, like who we are as people. So when you step in there, to me, it feels warm and inviting and comfortable. And then the beer, like if you have good beer, like they'll come in once if the beer is okay, like they'll keep coming back if your beer is good. And we've had people keep coming back. So I'm not, by no means am I taking credit for any of that. Kirk, our brewer, he is doing a really great job. We collaborate on things, but his skill set and expertise, I mean, we're trying to keep it simple and brewing some good stuff. And we've got some West Coast IPAs that people are digging. We've got just a regular blonde, true blonde that a lot of folks are like, I'm not really a craft beer kind of person. Like, well, here, try that. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I can drink this. So we got something for everybody.
Yeah. What else do you have with flavors and types of beer?
Right now we have, I will say, so as part of the community thing, right? So one of our neighbors has about 20 or 25 hives. He's into beekeeping. So he stopped by one day and he was like, hey, I've got some honey that I was wondering, would you guys? I was like, hell yeah, bring it on, brother. Like, what can we do? How can we help each other? His name is Mike Wilson. Really nice guy. Lives right behind on Cedar Run, I think. So he sells his honey out of a little box he has in his front yard, and people come and buy his honey. Well, I was like, can I, bring your stuff here and we'll sell it for you. Like, let's help each other. So it adds value to the community. We're actually right now brewing today. Kirk is in there. I was there this morning. We're brewing a honey IPA. So we're using a bunch of his honey in one of our IPAs, and we're brewing that currently. So it'll be a nice little subtle flavor there, a little sweetness, and then has the local honey in there. So we're gonna have that. We have all of our IPAs are on the West Coast tradition, so they're not the super hazy stuff. Although we will at some point try one because we've had some folks asking about that. So we have a blonde, we have a Scottish red, we have a berry and cream, and then we just kegged last Thursday was our peaches and cream, which is quite nice. We have a session IPA called our Field Cutter, which is a little lower on the ABV, about 5.2 or something. Not super hoppy, but pretty well balanced. And then we have a My IPA, which is Kirk's kind of recipe there. That is 7.2, but I think we're on our last little bit of that, so that might be gone by the time any folks get out there to try it. We've gone through a keg of 4 barrels of that already, so it's been going pretty well. And we have a Nala's Sweet Stout, which is nice. People think a stout is super heavy, but this one is really easy and balanced. And I don't want to drink a stout in summertime, but once you sip this, you're like, oh, that's pretty refreshing. Mm-hmm. And then we have a double IPA. So that one is a little heavier in the glass, about 8.6. And so yeah, and then we'll just rotate through. We have a couple things that we'll keep on because people have really enjoyed it, and they're pretty popular. So we'll have
your staples, and then some seasonal stuff.
Yeah, we'll have a couple core ones, and then so we're also going to do a veterans, some hop farmers will put a custom blend together for Veterans Day. So we'll have a veterans blend that will do a strong American ale, and we'll do a veterans blend for that and release that. And we'll probably do something where a portion of the proceeds we're going to try and donate to either a local veterans cause or a veterans community or some transition or something that we can kind of help give back and provide to the community through a donation of the proceeds that we get from selling that.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're just, we're throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. And so far,
listen to your customers and see what to keep going after.
Well, some of them have some really, oh, you should do this. And we're like, oh, I don't know if we should do that. But, everybody's got good feedback, and, all the reviews online have been pretty supportive and strong. So it tells me that we're not off base, and we haven't strayed from who we are. People, everybody gets greeted when they come in, and we make sure, the customer service is there, and folks come in the door, and we want to make them feel welcome. And either myself or my brother, who's working behind the register, or my wife, somebody's going up and either talking to you after once you sit down, like, hey, how's everything going? How's everything tasting? And introducing and getting to know people. I have a terrible time with names. So I've had to people, I remember faces and hey, how's it going? It's good to see you again. Mm-hmm. And it takes a while to build that repetition breeds success for me sort of thing, to get to see and introduce people and remember their names. And I've got to tell it to myself because a lot of times, that little hamster up here is getting smoked. He's just running and running and running, trying to keep up with everything. But it's been good to meet these folks and to really get on a name-to-name basis with them, and they can be a part of our story, and we're a part of theirs as well.
Yeah. Lots and lots of new faces. So
yes.
It might
lots.
take a little while to remember.
It is. It has been.
So, yep. Cool. So, looking at the next few weeks, maybe as school's starting up, what kind of events do you guys have planned already, or different ideas maybe? Yeah,
so we're a part of the Fauquier farm tour. So that's coming up in October. Okay. So we've been speaking with a few folks about, doing some agritourism and some educational stuff. We're also hopefully going to do some stuff with 4-H and have folks bring out some animals, and kids, can get to interact and meet with some folks that are doing the 4-H and kind of an introduction to that. There's a lot of people that just don't have that avenue or that opportunity. Folks that live further, in either Fairfax or wherever they're coming from, or even around here that don't have the space for that kind of stuff to kind of get maybe the taste of it and see if it's something that, that can inspire them to do something different. So that's on our list for October. We have had bands, and we enjoy supporting the local talent. We've had a lot of people reach out, hey, can we play here? I'm like, absolutely. Local food trucks, trying to find folks that want to bring their eats out to our place. And, we're just getting started, but we've had some pretty good support. The folks at Blue Pig Barbecue have been great with us. Rick and Bev, he's a retired sheriff in the leadership role, and him and his wife have been fantastic helping, bringing food around and getting us kind of situated and plugging in some holes for us. We're learning a lot, what to do, what not to do, and some of the ins and outs with some of the food trucks. And while we're just getting started, people want to come and make their money. Mm-hmm. It's like, and if it's going to be slow there, then maybe I don't want to show up. So we're trying to sort our way through all that and figure out how to balance that and make sure we're managing expectations. Yeah. But as we, get established and get that figured out, I think it'll just continue to be better. So we're trying to figure out, we're going to try and do some local artisan stuff, have a Saturday or a Sunday when the local, there's folks that do custom jewelry and then glass making and then just different things, painting or spinning wool or what have you, just bringing folks in that we have an area out front where people can kind of set up their stuff and the community come and see, oh, that's cool. And it allows them an avenue to purchase and create revenue for themselves and be able to support their hobbies or passions. And it brings people in for us and just kind of further creates that community and that sense of, tribe that we're going for.
Yeah. Good. You were talking in the beginning about kind of being out of towners and stuff like that. And, really talking with you, it's no different from when I talk to people who have, born and raised here for generations. You have the same mindset as the people that, do well here. So hopefully with opening this brewery, people will have open arms and support you like they already have.
Yeah.
And, the people, you're always going to have people you can't please, I guess. But
I don't try.
Hopefully some of those people, cave in, come have a drink and figure out, oh, this isn't so bad.
Exactly.
I can enjoy this.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully some people turn around. But
yeah, yes or no, we're still going to keep staying true to ourselves. Yep. And we're not, I think when folks know us and know what we're about, they'll tell you, who we are as people and the different preconceived notions with having a brewery. Oh my gosh, it's going to be this or that. And it's family, it's community, it's work. Closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're open. The latest is on, Saturday is Friday and Saturday till 9:00. So we're closed after 9. Sunday it's from 12 to 6. I've got kids and I want to have dinner with them and do all the other things too. So it's, we're finding that balance and communicating that message and making sure people know, when they do show up, they get that sense almost immediately of who we are and what we're about. And it's just building on that. And if I've learned anything in my travel and my career is my background is varied enough and we have the ability, we can communicate about something on any level. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot and I can relate to anyone on something given our background and experience. We can find ways that will put us closer together than bring us farther apart, but some people are just that mindset is built into them, and that's fine.
Yep. I think it's Abraham Lincoln said the best way to get rid of an enemy is to make him a friend. So,
sure.
Find a way to relate. But so if you aren't following them on social media already, definitely follow them Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, and our website's coming soon. We've been in the development phase of that. It's 4J's Farm and Brewery. So we've been working on getting that. I believe now we're on Untapped, which is a beer. Folks that go out and sample breweries, they can go and kind of rank and rate the beers that they're tasting at our place. So I found we're on that. So cool. I have to get up on that one.
Yeah.
Now it's Instagram and Facebook. I believe we're going through our Facebook got hacked. Yeah. So we're trying to reclaim our page and
so Instagram.
But
stop by.
My wife, stop by and come see us, and we can kind of get you in the right direction. I mean, you can see us on the internet, but being there and tasting it in real life is the best way.
Yeah, absolutely. So go up to Keith Road here, just above Warrenton. Check them out Thursday through Saturday.
Thursday through Sunday.
Through Sunday.
Yeah.
And get to know the Waldron family and what they have going on. Support a new business and, the other local businesses they're connecting with. And thank you so much for being a guest today.
Appreciate you having me on.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next time.